Wow. What year were you born?
1949.
1949. So you were drafted in the Vietnam War. How old were you?
I was 19 and a half.
Do you remember how it felt when you got your draft notice?
Picked on.
Picked on?
And I was before the lottery too. I didn't have a draft number.
Yeah. So tell me what led you into being drafted.
Well, I had 2 years of junior college. I had a student deferment, and I fell in love, and so did my wife, and we decided to get married.
Mhm.
And then she got pregnant,
Mhm.
and then 2 months later, we're going to settle down, start working, making a living, and we said, "Greetings from Uncle Sam. Your friends and people from Steele County, Minnesota would like you to join the service."
Okay.
That's exactly what it said, too.
What was your area of expertise in the Vietnam War?
I was first PA, or physician's assistant, in Vietnam, basically. And I worked in a hospital and put people back together all the time.
What was it like coming home? Or how long were you there for?
A year.
A year. Yeah, what was it like coming home?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you about Vietnam a little bit.
Okay.
When I landed in Vietnam, in Cam Ranh Bay, I remember the 707 plane we flew over on, 250 GIs, all brand new fatigues, jungle fatigues. And all of a sudden the pilot says, "I'm going to turn the lights out now because we're entering a war zone. Now, if you look down below you, that's Vietnam, and there are explosions going off all over the place." Then I got scared. And the plane landed at 12 midnight their time. And we air-conditioned jet. We opened the tarmac, and it was 100 degree heat with 100% humidity, and the stench of decaying bodies, Agent Orange, and burning feces was thick in the air. I was sick for the first 2 weeks. Am I doing good? Okay.
Okay. Let's see. What was it like when you got home?
After a year of hell, we called going back to the States the world. We couldn't wait to get back to see a round-eyed woman. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it was wonderful. Except we had to walk through the airport in San Francisco, and we got spit on and called baby killers and all kinds of crap.
Mm.
Nothing like the heroic, the stuff they do for soldiers today. We were shit on. It was terrible. Anyway, and I still kind of irritates me.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't anymore, but it always will. Okay.
Do you remember when? No, you were there. Never mind. What's one big major event that you remember in your lifetime that you remember exactly where you were that wasn't before 9/11? Or that was after? That was before 9/11.
JFK, when he got shot. I was in 9th grade chemistry class.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget it.
What did they say? Like,
came over the intercom and said that we have something very sad to say, to tell you that our president has just been assassinated.
How did you feel?
Horrible, and all the girls are crying, and it was terrible.
Do you remember where you were when Martin Luther King was murdered?
No, I don't.
Do you remember where you were for 9/11?
I was going to work. Going to surgery in Albert Lea about 20 to 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. What was it like growing up in the 50s?
50s, 60s. That was a good time. We never heard of drugs. I never heard of what marijuana was until I got to Vietnam. So it was Ozzie and Harriet kind of thing. It was a big deal if you went and got a root beer at night. Get in the car and go get a root beer. Boy, that was a big deal.
Was there anything like special that you carried when you were in Vietnam? Like,
Well, I was carried a .45 caliber pistol on my side, and I was in scrubs.
was there like a picture of like a,
I had a picture of my wife and Tom was born in, your dad, when I was in Vietnam. I had a picture of them on my hooch wall.
what's a hooch wall?
Well, it was a little tin shed that we slept in. Snakes would crawl in at night and join me. It was raining out too much. Terrible place.
Yeah. You ever thought about going back and just seeing everything?
I thought about it, and it's the most beautiful country in the world. When I was there, there was a terrible war going on, but it's the most green, beautiful green I've ever seen. And the whole time I was there, they always talk about the rice paddies of Vietnam. I never seen a rice paddy. I was up in the mountains the whole time. I was 40 miles from the sea, South China Sea, except I was, except I was 10,000 feet up. It was still 100 degrees up. All right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we were in the Cold War, and communism was a big thing.
Yep.
Do you remember being afraid that communism was going to
No.
spread to America? Not at all?
No, never.
Never? Okay. And then earlier you were talking about...
'Cause I always knew that the United States was a stronger power than Russia.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so earlier you were talking about JFK, and you were in chemistry. Can you compare that moment to anything else in your life?
No.
Mm-hmm.
9/11 was shocking, but it was not as, the whole country went, well, 9/11 was bad too. Never mind. They're both about the same.
Okay, I think I'm alright. So, Vietnam, you didn't really necessarily like everything you had to do?
No.
Hated it?
Some things.
Do you feel guilty for anything?
Maybe. I worked in surgery. I was not a doctor, but I worked like a doctor. And one time, about 75 dying mass casualty guys come all in at once by helicopter. And they couldn't get the regular doctor, couldn't find him because he was probably drinking or something. And I had to do triage.
What's triage?
Triage is going around looking at how bad they are and deciding who we could work on and save and who was going to die. And I had to do that. And we did the best job we could, and we saved a lot of them, but I'm sure I have that dream every now and then I made a mistake with somebody. So they're all screaming for their moms. It was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it.
Yep.